Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. It's me, the Travel Bee, and today I'm going to talk about how I plan my trips. So just going to give a little bit of tips and some suggestions, but also tell you what kind of tools I use when I'm doing my planning. So for me, one of the first things I do when I'm planning a trip, obviously, is decide where I'm going. So when I'm traveling, it can either be a work trip or a personal trip, or which also includes sort of family trips. And of course, another big factor is, am I traveling solo or am I traveling with other people? And so once I have the destination in mind, and I'll probably reflect more on how I pick my destinations in another video. So let's say for a minute I know where I'm going, I have a conference coming up, and then it's all about figuring out the plans for that conference. So I use an app called TripIt, and it's a really helpful app that helps me plan the trip. What I like about it is it pulls everything in from all kinds of different locations depending on where I'm traveling and what tools I'm using, whether I'm booking with Expedia or booking through Airbnb. I'm able to pull that together into my TripIt app, and it kind of gives me a categorization of exactly what the trip looks like. You can go into so much detail. You can put like driving directions in that app. You can attach tickets for things. So that's what I really like, is it pulls it all together and puts it in one place. So that's definitely my go-to app for traveling. And then usually I end up booking my flights first, assuming the trip is less than a year out, because a lot of airlines you can only book within a year. So if you know when your trip is going to be, then I would book my flight first so that I can work around my flight and book everything else. If I'm staying for a conference, I really try to be as close as possible to the conference venue. If it's a hotel, I obviously want to be right there beside the conference location or within walking distance. So this year I'm going to Malmo, Sweden for a conference, and I'll be staying in about a 5-minute walk from the conference center, just at someone's Airbnb that I've booked. So that's going to be really close. And other times I'll stay, like when I was in Washington for a conference, I stayed at the Washington Hilton, where the conference was being held. So depending on the destination that I'm going to, I always like to research a little bit about what is in that area that I might want to see, and what's coming, what sort of features there are. But of course, I always like to leave some time for spontaneity and to discover things as I go. Sometimes it's a really rushed trip, and other times I can take extra time. But when I am going to a work trip, I do try to add time on either before or after the work trip to give me a chance to explore. I prefer if it's after, because then I can actually enjoy my time and the work part is done. But sometimes just by the scheduling, it works out that I end up going either beforehand or something like that. So those are some of the ways that I try to organize the trip in advance in terms of scheduling. And then, of course, I focus on accommodations and making sure that I have those booked for the conference time, but also for the personal time as well. So then I make sure I have all of the transportation that I need. If I'm renting a car, if I'm taking a train, if I'm booking an extra flight between certain places. So I'd sort of do that in order: the flight to get there, the hotels and accommodations, and then the smaller travel accommodations in between. So whether that's, usually could be a rental car, but if I'm in a city, I might just take Ubers around. So it really just depends on the type of trip, whether it's urban or rural. And I like both. It just depends on where I'm going and how much time I have and that kind of thing. So then I look into, once I have that on my trip app, of the different accommodation styles and the different transportation styles that I'm going to be using, then I try to slot in some of the activities I might want to do, and I'll look into what things maybe need more advanced booking. So as an example, Hobbiton in New Zealand, you really needed to do advanced booking for that. It was definitely a requirement or you wouldn't get in. But other parts of the trip you didn't need to book in advance and you could just walk up to them. So I try to research and know what's what in terms of booking in advance. And I will book some things in advance, but I'm the kind of person who also likes to see how the weather is on a given day and explore based on that. And so I will sometimes adjust my plans based on weather and go to certain things. Like if it's a rainy day, I'll go do a museum, or if it's a really beautiful day, I'll do something that's an outdoor activity. So that if you book too far in advance, you really can't have the spontaneity that I like to enjoy. So those are just some of the ways that I start my planning process. I'm just about to get into planning for some fall trips this year, and I will keep you posted on those. And of course, I'll start to do more live videos as I'm traveling on those trips as well. So let me know if you have any questions down below. I can go into more detail on any of the travel apps and tools, and I can also share some of the things when I'm actually on the trip, which will be really exciting as well. Always love to get into planning mode. I do a lot of planning over the winter months as well, and then I'm always like modifying and improving the trip as I go to really make sure that it has what I'm looking for. So I hope that was helpful, and thanks for checking in.